Good evening. I am David from Fertile Pixel, and I've been working on command bots. And I even thought to myself, maybe I should make some kind of game design document, which I don't have at all for this game. Basically, I've just sort of been playing around with a prototype with very little direction, just doing what I think of at the time. Just get that magnifier up and running. So, yeah, game design document. It's basically sort of an overview of the game. It sort of gives you an overview of the features, the gameplay, all of the main things, probably the tech to build it with, that kind of thing. And basically for this one, I have a physical piece of paper with a bunch of sticky notes on there with ideas that I jotted down. And that's basically what I've been basing this on. And because it's a prototype at this point, that's probably good enough. But I do feel like this little list of to-dos in game objects is a bit getting a bit clunky, a bit limiting for what I want here. So I might start just by, I'll pop that over there, and just I was trying to decide where to make this. I've kind of gotten sick of a lot of the online tools, online document editing and so on. Just gets annoying, but I thought, well, I'll try OneNote for the moment, because I haven't really used that for this purpose before. I'm looking for something that's a bit whiteboard-ish. And OneNote kind of isn't that. Well, a little bit. It's got drawing tools and other things, but it doesn't quite come together. So I'm not sure if I actually want to do that in there either. But, well, let's just start with that anyway. Just like add a checklist, grab this. I can at least put my checklist somewhere with it that actually supports checklists and where I can fit more notes. And I can start to collect bugs and things here. Obviously, like proper bug tracking systems. Why has this decided to stop working? Hello? This is another thing I don't like about modern tools. Tend to be really bad at just doing what they're meant to do. Like the basics of what they're meant to do. On a work system, I now have to use Windows 11. And oh my god, they remade Notepad. And they somehow like just broke it. Like it now does not perform sometimes. You'll make keystrokes and they'll like buffer. It's like, what are you doing? A round trip to network or something? It's really weird that they managed to so thoroughly break such a basic tool. I think we're kind of reaching a point where everything's got so many layers of abstraction on top of it that it's kind of all starting to break down, and you kind of have to just go back to something a bit simpler, just a text editor. That's what Notepad's supposed to be, and they've somehow tried to make it do more than that and failed at having it be able to do the basics. Anyway, enough ranting about Notepad. I finished my hot chocolate. Yeah, I think that's a no for OneNote. The fact that I cannot copy this text and then go here and paste it. Okay, now that's working, but why does that have to be like what is this doing that it can't even handle consistently pasting text? That is just an utter fail. Anyway, why don't I just I'll use this for now. Let's just put a thing here. This is my tasks. And I can make you another one similar for bugs. And does this at least let me like reorder things for priority? I can maybe grab that, put it there. Yeah, it does. Good. Okay, that's kind of a bare minimum. And this is what I was working on, I believe. Make a general interface for interacting with parts. And last time, where did I get with that? An error occurred. I must have moved that. But our simple activatable parts. This is where I had this RoboPart. Let's move that to its own file. Just waiting for Unity to do its thing. It's another example of like, do you really have to stop me having input while you compile things? You can see how you might stop some things being interacted with, but not this area here. So where does that live? That lives in RoboPart scripts. That makes sense. So we've got iRoboPart, simple activatable part. Okay, so this is interfaceable. It has this activate method that returns a part activation status. And where were we up to last time? Oh, let me run this and see. Probably should have made a note where I'd got to with that. It'd be nice to get started on sensors today. I think I was working on getting legs to activate properly, and I did a hacky workaround with them. So now if I have a budget legs, standard legs, RoboParts, legs here. Yes, so I don't know if I was going to fix that this time. I don't remember if I had decided to just put that off for now. I think it makes sense to leave that for now until I'm ready to update the movement, because the movement at the moment is done with the animator. So I think that's for later. Probably just change memory to use physics instead of animator, and then probably legs. There we go. So yeah, the legs should be basically applying the forces to the whole robot rather than just saying, okay, robot, move forward. Because different legs could do different things. It's not like a subtask. It's like dependent on it. So it has to come after that. That's something where a proper bug tracking system can, sort of a task tracking system can help to sort of say this is blocked by this. I could put numbers on there and stuff if I wanted, or some kind of identifier. Anyway, I think I've kind of got that routine. I think all of the parts now using that. Well, let's have a look at what the robot script looks like. That'll tell us how thoroughly that's been done. So look at the update loop. So we've done away with all this can perform action. So that I think has been completely driven from the parts. So now we're just basically starting the action. Just clean up some of this stuff. Don't really need to have that hang around. So yeah, we've still got is doing action, which is where the idle is playing. Oh, is it? Or are we actually? Okay, that checks that. So yeah, basically that's something I want to do today. Okay. This is focused in here. Why is it not doing anything? Come on. No. Like, even if that only happens a tiny bit, it's completely, like, it means that I can't rely on it, so it's unusable. Like, what? Where's the input going? If not there. There's not something else going on here, is there? With like something pressing on something else? Seems like no, there's not. Oh, I need to move this. The chat is behind here. Oh, phew, no messages. That was a close one. Yeah, no, sorry, OneNote. I don't know why that's happening, but the fact that it can happen at all, I can't trust you. There it goes. Now I'll see if it can manage to hold together long enough for me to just use it a little bit today. Yep. So now I was actually writing. There we go. So we're checking the parts there. That's one thing to do. Well, that'll be interesting when I allow sort of separate actions for different mount points. Yes, that'll be quite interesting. That will be phased out. Actually, are we even calling this anywhere? We are not referring to it anyway. Let's just delete that. It's not used anymore. And I believe probably the same with block. Yeah, so we can get rid of that. So yeah, that is just, the robot doesn't need to know. It just needs to generically use parts. And it might not even need to do that, because that's what's used to do that. So that's our old start action, and this is literally just still around to yeah, just for movement action. So I think I'll rename this. to say start movement and get rid of that stuff. Don't need that. I was going to write a comment on here that says this is only here to handle movement, but oh yeah, so I need to do that. To do cache parts. Now, would it be reasonable to do that? When would it be reasonable to do that? Because I could do it on awake or on start. Don't really need those comments. That's just, it just animates out of there right now. So I think it gets created, gets all its parts added on there, sort of as part of the spawn process. And so I think that's probably an okay time to do that. Let me just I don't want a local variable. I don't want a temporary variable. I don't want a parameter. So well, I guess I'll just have to do that by hand. So we'll just make a little private array of parts. And all that's done so far is just move them to be stored against the thing. I've got a robot spawner, haven't I? Yeah. So this is really where the spawning code happens. So we spawn these parts. They get added onto the mount point. So make the robot here, we instantiate it. Then we get that, grab its animator, do some stuff, set the layer, etc. Now we create and add all the parts, and we place spawn. And we haven't set any upgrades. So when spawn plays, it's the right time to really get those parts onto the robot. So I could just make that happen. I'm going to make this spawning method, and that's when it's going to do that, because that is the right time to do that, because it's spawning. I know it's or maybe spawned. So I could have that called by the robot spawner. Oh, that's actually interesting. Where's this being called from? The factory? Yeah. it's calling spawn robot, and yeah, it just spawns it. That's actually cool. Now that I got that, thing, I can, instead of playing spawn on its animator, I can actually just do bot dot spawned, and the bot can handle playing its spawn animation. So that's another thing that would be useful. It can also register all its parts and anything else that I decide it needs to happen when it spawns. Maybe it can play a sound. Like command bots. Transform and roll out. Okay. So yeah, so it can play spawn on its own animator. So that means, yeah, robot spawner doesn't have to play that, and that means the robot spawner might not even need the animator. So that, yeah, there we go. That's nice. Don't need to know as much about that. What is this? Mount point names. No, that was before I changed how that worked. So let me clean that up. So yeah, we're calling that, and that should register all these parts. So I think that is now cached. Don't need that anymore. And then yeah, if it just got null for those parts, then that's that. That is what it is. It just malfunctions, and it always will. All right, cool. So next, we do need to interrogate those parts for whether they are doing an action. So basically, this is going to be the same sort of thing as starting an action, where we're passing that action to each part. So it's this, with a null check. Can't do an action if we are... Oh, there's the malfunction action though. All right, so malfunction is its own thing, which happens when it tries to do an action that it just doesn't have the parts for or anything like that, or if the part has been destroyed. And so that is just something that happens with the animator of this part. So I think I'll need to check that. I'll need to check that anyway, but I do want the duration of the activation to be variable. Like different parts can take a different amount of time for their action. So what have I got on that? This is the RoboPart interface, and at the moment we don't have anything on there. So we'll need a new method or property. Check if the part is doing an action. Got to be careful with saying like if the part is active, because does that mean it's doing an action, or does it mean it's just like not deactivated or something? So let's look at iRoboPart here. So is activatable? That was one that I was going to use, but then I realized I could just try and activate and then get this back. Yes, how will it do that? And I think the answer to that question is it's going to poll. Yeah, RoboParts. Update. Is active. I'm just going to say is doing action. And not make an implementation because this is an interface. There we go. There we go. Let's make it a property that's just got a getter. And what actually happens with those parts? I'm going to grab. Let's just see. What's going on here? Interesting. Oh. Interesting. So I'm getting a lot of warning messages here. And it looks like pretty much nothing is working. No action here is working. Here's robot. This is animated play, apparently. I was coming over here to just see what the animated controller for a robot looks like when it is doing something. Oh, that makes sense. Because I think it does it. Yeah, probably because it's probably just going to be hitting that. Maybe. All right, so what am I actually doing with that? Is doing action. Basically, we're just going to say if that part is doing action, then return true. So we already know that we're doing an action. And otherwise, it's going to check, I guess, if it's in an idle state. This is still here because of movement and malfunction animations. Okay, but I need to get back to the simple activatable part. Let's put that all the way on the left there. And it's going to be doing the same thing as robot spawner, I think. That's not as robot spawner, just like this, whether it's playing. I think maybe this one here. Just if the animator is playing, I'll fix that if it doesn't work. But just pop that here, and for now, I'll just assume if the animator is playing, then that means that it is active. There. So that could work. Let me stop that from playing there. And take a look. So I'm particularly interested in this animated.play activate. Is that going to play as a one shot? Or is it forced to loop around to a default state? Well, they definitely are seeming pretty broken, and I'm getting an error here, so that's probably the one. Variable animator on legs has not been assigned. You probably need to assign the animator variable of the legs script in the inspector. I wasn't doing that before. Oh, right. I think I basically missed out on having that. So the animator can't be playing if there is no animator. I don't know why that wanted to indent like that. Okay. Oh, that's not going to do anything until I stop that playing so that it can pick up the change. Yeah, I like it when languages handle nulls, like nullability properly, like force null checks when things could be null. So I'd rather have a compile time error than a runtime error. Okay. So far, no errors. But give it a moment. Okay. Bunch of errors here. Now what's happening? Okay, what? Oh, I've done that backwards. It's only calling evidence now. Don't mind me. Don't mind me just doing things backwards. Complicated things are fine. It's the simple things I have trouble with. I don't know if that's strictly true. Okay, let's get you to spawn, and hooray, it didn't explode. No errors happening there. Okay, I think I need to wait for something with a part like there. You're meant to be firing a laser. That should be firing a laser too. So let me just, yeah, I think that one's meant to be firing the laser. Oh, I can't select something while I've got this here. Anyway, so for an animator here, we've got a walk forward animation happening. But we also have got this right arm, left arm mount point is the relevant one. That has got a laser gun. And it is sitting here in idle state. So it's in idle state. And I did have working shooting before. Looks like that's just decided to continue walking along. That robot. I'll just resume here. What I want to do is select something. So it just flickers over to that for a moment. So I should maybe be able to capture that point at which this robot here, yep, that one. It has got a left arm mount point with a laser gun on there. So even if it's just one frame, I'm looking here. I'll advance this to see. Should be when it's right on that square. It should switch to laser. There. Now it's on laser. So what is that? That's the step of the routine it's on. And it's basically just staying on that routine step. Okay, so we're saying is doing an action means animator is playing, and what it should be, I mean the animator is playing. So it should be basically the same as what the robot is doing here, where we've got here is, oh, I've just realized this is called shoot, not activate. If I name that activate, it might work a lot better. Same with the animator for the shield. Has Boop got any parts here? Boop has a shield. Yeah, that's called activate. Now, that might actually get those lasers working. But this is always going to return true, so then it won't ever stop doing one action to do the next one. Poor Boop. Malfunction, malfunction, malfunction. Should make Boop malfunction there for about 10 minutes and then take on some powers. Okay, we've got working lasers here. Did I know I have a generic thing that it could do? Okay, I need to grab a clone here. Grab the next one here. All right, so it's just fired a laser. That's the one there. And we don't want the shield, we want laser gun. And that doesn't seem to be playing activate anymore. even though was it just finished doing that animation there? So what? It's finishing idle. It's getting that robot to move. It might have finished the animation it was doing. So it's finishing walk forward. Okay, and then it should be going to idle. When it detects idle, it will do its next action. So I'll just click on that laser gun there. Yeah, we've got activate happening. So that's animating the color of the laser. Fires the laser beam. Slightly misaligned. And finishes that. There, and now it's no longer, now it's back on idle. And this robot here is on its idle. Was it doing a shoot laser? We just allow it to do its thing. It is just going to idle at that point. So does that mean this is working? Because that seems weird that I'll just grab that because it's really going to be not just animator is playing. I guess that's animator is playing, and then if it's idle, but I think we're just going to check if it's on activate. Oops. So that's how we know it's doing its activate. And then I'll just rename this. Not like that though. I use the right key shortcut. There. So that so that's if it's activate, that's if it's playing, and we just want to return if it is playing and it's activate that it's playing, not idle, then that is what it means for it to be doing an action. So, as a little test for that, I could maybe grab the shield block action. And stretch it out or double it up or something. Just make sure it doesn't start walking straight away when it should still be doing that action. I think that would be a reasonable test. So we've got the shield block animation here. That's what we'll play on activate. So if I instead have had that block for exactly 1 second, can I get these and just move them? Make it be 2 seconds. Just block for longer. There, 2 seconds. There. Well, that should pretty immediately tell as soon as I have a shield block happen. Will it still be blocking when it starts walking? So if we got anyone who has a shield, let's get you doing a block action instead. And so it'll just do walk block. Yeah, it looks like a 2-second block. Oh, you put the shields down just too quickly. But yeah, there definitely seems to be waiting for that block for a really good test. Let's get I don't know how well this works while it's actually playing. Robot, no, we want now I see how well organized I've kept things. There's the shield block animation. There it is at that long. Let's make a block even longer. I like this shield block to kind of have a customizable length. There, let's try 4 seconds. It's doing something a bit weird. Does seem to be about 4 seconds. Yep. Seems like a reasonable strategy. Just have triple the hit points of any other robot so that you just destroy anything that walks into you. So, okay, so I think that proves that that is working. Waiting for actions. And yeah, sometime at some point, I'll add this in here. Oh, or will I? Maybe I won't add it there. I'm just going to write it anywhere just to get it down somewhere. If I can write. What is wrong with this thing? Piece of rubbish. So yeah, make parameterized actions such as a block action with customizable duration. Or like a charge up weapon. I can like charge over different amounts of time. Amounts of time? No. Or like a launcher that can launch different numbers of missiles. Yeah. So you could have like a set of missiles and then you just blast them all off at once and then that's it. Or do them one at a time. That seems fine. Yeah. So that's basically working. They're able to tell if they're playing activate. And is everything just a subclass of this now? Looks like laser gun, legs, and shield are all subclasses of that. they won't actually be able to report themselves as being active because they are not controlling their own animation. But that's where that fallback for movement using the old thing still works. Sorry, this isn't the legs, this is the laser gun. Yeah, base.activate is doing animated.play activate. Now that I've updated that to be activate. We got legs. So yeah, that's just kind of not doing too much. So I think the legs don't have any. Just check that they don't have an animator, do they? No, they don't. And then the shield here. So yeah, I'll get that block back. Or I could make another block that's like a long block. Short block, long block. Might as well do that. That'd be so easy to do. Oops. Did not like me trying to save. Just save up everything. Alright, so if I go to the shield, we got a shield block animation. Can I just duplicate that, please? Or at least copy and paste it. There we go, long block animation. So I'll select that, and that's basically the same thing I did. I have a 1 second block. I'll make this one about 3 seconds. There. Okay, and then, oh, that's interesting. Yes. So now simple activated part, you call activate with an action, and then this thing will basically just do. So simple activatable meaning only one thing it could do. So that does change things a bit. Interesting. Yeah, it's just going to play activate. So that'll actually change things. Quite significantly. Well, not that significantly, but I'll need to make a few minor adjustments to how that script is working. Since we've got long block, first of all, let's get that shield animated controller, and let's make a new state here, and we'll call that activate 3, activate long, something like that. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, shield. What is this change in here? Grab shield here. So it's going to need to have its own activate. I'm just going to copy the whole existing activate here and just pop that in about there. So, oh hey, how long have these messages been here? Sorry about that. JavaScript? No, this is C#. Yes. Yeah, there's var. It acts as you can use it anywhere that C# can infer what the type is. So it's still strongly typed, but it is just less typing. So part activation status in the parameters, asking for an object. Well, let me have a look. Okay, so you're talking in here. Activate. All right. So in this guy, well, these are the parameters. We've got an action, so that's what action is being performed. Oh, line 7. This is an animator. That's just an animator that gets attached. So, for example, shield. That anything that's a serialized field, it'll show up just there under that script in the inspector. And so basically I just dragged that animator into there. That allows me to, 11. Yeah, so here, yeah, so this is the signature of the activate method. It will take basically a robot action, which is just an enum constant from here. It's going to be, sorry, not that one. Yeah, it's going to take one of these actions. So that's just the enum with all the actions that it could take. And it's just going to take a Boolean that says whether this is an enemy, and that's not needed by every part. It's mainly used for the laser. It would be needed for any projectile weapons because it needs to set them onto the right layer to make sure they'll hit enemies only, not do friendly fire. And its return value is this activation status. So that's basically just telling the caller, did it successfully activate or did something go wrong? And at the moment, that's the only one that the callers care about. It's like, was it activated? And otherwise, it just wasn't. But I might change the behavior in response to these different states. So does that answer the question? Because I think you were asking about the parameters. And this one being an enum value, it means ultimately it's just an integer, but it's just an integer that is compiled in a way that makes it easier to work with, a bit more type safe. Java, yeah. So C# was basically, they copied Java and did a better job, in my opinion. Did a better job. So yeah, a lot of similarities. Unless a lot has changed since I was last using Java. Parameter type is an object. Yeah, so in Java, like everything is an object, more or less, except like even primitives tend to be. Hang on, it's been a while since I was working with Java directly. But let's see, an enum in Java is actually an object, like the enum constants are themselves objects, whereas in C# an enum is literally just compiles down to an integer. But yeah, you'll find so objects are passed by reference, whereas value types are passed by value. So in C#, structs are value types, and so on. So yeah, if you're having a problem with that, it might be that you're passing a reference and treating it as though it's not a reference. But I mean, feel free to let me know what the nature of the problem you're having is, because I might be able to help. Like I said, it's been, gosh, might have been 10 years since I wrote Java. I don't know, am I that old? Maybe, but it can't have changed that much, at least not in the fundamentals. So yeah, I can try. In the meantime, what was I up to? I was trying to figure out how can I make this shield able to handle multiple different actions, and basically to do that I'll need to add another kind of action, right, which is like long block. I'll call it block long. And then that way I can distinguish between the two. And I would need to make that shield RoboPart able to handle that. Yeah. Yeah, do type out, let me know what problem you're having, because I can probably help point you in the right direction with it. That is my day job. Well, that's part of my day job, just as a senior developer. It's a lot of steering people in the right direction. All right, so we don't have reference to the animator here. We do have it there, but it's just private. So if I make it protected, then a subclass will be able to access it. That fixes the issue there. And then, so the action is going to be block. Then we can probably just play what is currently called activate. Actually, I'll put that like that, and then let it choose. I think I'll just assume that this is going to be activate long. I can rename these to block since it's like specific to shield now. Okay, so that should be all right there. And then we can also say here, oh, so animator is playing. Is that? Just make that available to my little thing there. And I also probably want to just get that. So that'll just take whatever name we want in here. And then I can just replace that with something a bit more readable. Current animation is activate. And so now that's that. And so instead of that, I make that virtual so I can potentially override it. And then shield can have its own version of that. Okay, so now let's just say animator is active and implement that. I don't want to rename that one. There. But I'll just put that down the bottom here where I want it. Animator is playing. And either current animation is activate, or current animation is activate long. Yeah, I can probably come up with a much better, more abstracted out version of this, where I can just have an array of action names and even this thing. So yeah, not virtual, that should be override now. So it's copied from there. And oh, that should be override too. So we are overriding there, but I'm sure I can make a much more generic version of this where really all this needs is like a list of mappings from action to name of thing. Just thinking, there's definitely an argument for, and I might make a note of this, changing how simple activatable part works. Use action name, get animators instead of activate. And the reason for that is, would allow having supporting multiple different actions without having to code for them specifically. And just let's use idle animation to tell if it is there we go. So that might work for the shield, but I think I'll end up sort of reversing that just because it's starting to get too complicated. I don't want my code to get more complicated just because there are more actions. I'll make a generic one where a part that supports 7 different actions still just has the same bit of code, but just has a different set of actions sort of input. All right. how did you go, Gabriel Ganchev? Any luck in describing the issue? It's I know how confusing things can be initially, and when you're learning, and then as you get used to it, it's easier and easier to sort of step back and see what's happening. Oh, I haven't done everything I need to here to make that long block work. So I've got this long block action, but I haven't got it actually supported. I've got a couple of things I need to do. So I need to get this shield prototype. No, I need to get the shield robot part. And I need to say, as well as block, it can also support block long. So that's one thing. I also need to make something on here that can support block long. So I've got this command brush 4 here. That has the command brush and block and so on, and it's got the icon block. So what I could do here is just duplicate that, change it to be block long, and I'll just make it distinct. Oh, I was going to say by giving it a different color, but that's probably not going to do the trick. Because I think it'll change color based on things like this, and I don't know if it'll go back to the original color or if I just have it hard coded to white. So maybe I can like flip it or something. That might make it sort of different. Or make it bigger. I could just make a different sprite and use it. That's scaling the whole thing. I'll just flip it. That makes it look different. So that'll give me something distinct. And I think it's still going to use the same image there when you put it in the thing, but is that enough to make it work? All right, so who's got a shield on? You've got a shield on. You got 2 shields on. Let's grab that first one. So it's got a shield. We'll get that's a long block. No, regular block. Long block. Long block doesn't work. Console error. Index out of range. Oh yes. Routine editor has an array in here that we're going out of. There. Got command sprites in routine editor, so that's the routine editor there. Oh yeah, so we got that icon block. Why don't I just make a long block? This one. Okay, so we'll grab our sprites file here. Oops, that's not the right one. That one, not the exported one. And where's block? There. Okay, so that's block. So let me copy that. And a new frame here. Okay. Not working. Where were we? 18? Okay, what do we got now? Is that what we used to have? I'm going to delete this because I think I have added 2. I hope that was what happened anyway. Okay, so how do we make a long block? I'm going to grab that. No, that is not what I want to do. Oh, because I've already got it selected, that's why it's moving. Okay, just going to grab this, copy it, move that across somewhat. Actually, I'll leave that where it is, because I've got it copied. And just grab myself a filled rectangle with this, but just turn that alpha right down. And just like fade it out a bit. Let's do say 6 of those. That seems fine. I'm actually going to paste this other one. Just move it to there. And oops. There, that's good. I'll copy this one and pop it just there. And I'm going to go back to that. Did I do 6 before or do 6 more? I could just adjust the alpha, but hey. What would I adjust it to be equivalent of going over it 6 times with whatever that was? Okay, and I think I'll make 1 more of those. Okay. So that doesn't look faded enough. I'm going to do more. Maybe we'll adjust that alpha there to make it just more faded. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so now I'll get this, and I'm just going to bump that across like to there. So that'll do. And I actually need to let's grab like this kind of selection and just delete those bits out of there. Don't want. So we just got the shield. There we go. And where's my tolerance? 0. Let's try 200 tolerance. Yep, that seems good. So how far are we going to be here? How many? Like 2 pixels from the edge there. So that's where it's going to be. Okay, so let's go 3 pixels across. Per thing. And I'll get it sort of centered later. Okay, so now I'll just make sure I've got that color. And fill that in here. Grab that and put that somewhere there. And put that in there. There we go. That's the long block icon. So let's just export that sprite sheet. And output to where? Project art. Yes, that is the right place. So that's ready to export. Sweet. Okay, I'll just go make sure that's sliced up properly. Okay, we can use save and group by cell size 64. Go. Oh, geez, no. Got to put it back on safe after you change the type. That's poor usability right there. So I believe that is now sliced, and that one's called icon block. Let's call that one icon block long. There. Okay, good. I'll apply that. Close that, and no changes there to apply. All right, so where was I? Routine editor canvas. We'll add another one here, and we're going to use that icon block long, and that gives us something a bit better to use just here. Where are we? Yeah, we'll just flip that back up the right way. Change that to be that. And would that fix our index out of range exception? It's starting to get a bit late. I think I'll finish up before too long. Definitely not too happy with OneNote as a tool to jot things down. Okay, who have we got? This one here. Let's made that game window quite small somehow, so I'll just do that. Right, let's get you doing the long block and a short block and see the difference. Oh, did you spawn before I... You're not even doing any block, are you? Oh, I know why. Yes, there's a good reason for that. And that is because if I go to the shield animator controller and I have a look at this activate long, for one thing, it doesn't have any motion. So I should grab that shield block animation 1, shield long block animation 1, I just called. And I also should add a transition to here. And we should give that a duration. So that was a 3-second block, I believe. So we basically want to say this one's exit time is 3 and fixed duration, no transition duration. So now it will last for 3 seconds before it transitions out of there. And that should make a difference, actually having it wired up to something. So yes, I'll get that. Doing move, long block, move, short block. maybe do the move at the end. Oh, okay, I've got long block. And then you're just sitting there for, I think that's sitting there for too long. Pretty sure that's sitting there for way, way too long. I might just pause this. Let's grab this robot here and have a look what's going on in its animator. It's doing walk forward. So that's that robot, and it's got its shield here. That's just in idle. So let's just see. It'll do its walk forward animation. Get to the end of that. Drop back to idle. Meanwhile, its shield also on idle. Oh, there we go. It's gone on to activate. Which I was going to say is like the wrong thing to do, but that's for the one in front. So yeah, it would have done its long block here, and then it's done its step. So now it is doing its short block. Oh, great. What does this one have? It's doing a regular activate, regular short block. That should go for 1 second. Same time it takes these others to take a step. Okay, so that finishes, and it's taking a step. It's probably going to get exploded soon. Yeah, I should have selected the one I was going to get. Anyway, so it's doing... Okay, the shield is on idle. Okay, let's see what happens now. Just before it blows up, we should get... Now we've got to activate long. And so, like, we should have that in progress. Oh, it's actually walking. Oh, that activate long did not last very long. Speed 1. Exit time 3. Activate long has a 3-second duration. I think I might have missed something here. Those look the same. These transitions look very similar, but with a 3 instead of a 1. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That's how we are with development sometimes. This is interesting, I think. There are some things here that I could use. That I'm not using at the moment. Where I could probably have a single animation that's controllable enough to have it just raise a shield and have it up for a different amount of time. But anyway, it was just for illustration that I thought I'll have a couple of different different ones, but I'm not in my in my shields script. I'm not in my shield script doing like calling the parent one, am I? Not calling base.activate. No. Animator is active. Animator is playing, and current animation is activate or activate long. So it should be reporting active. So what it seems like happened was that didn't activate for very long. Well, that's about all I have time for tonight anyway, so I guess I will have a look at that next time. I will try to take a note here about where I was up to. Up to... Oh. You're not going to let me type something? That's like the whole point of you existing. Wow. That's just like amazingly bad. To do. Move these notes out of OneNote. Yeah, I haven't had it behaving that badly before, so I wonder what's going on with it. Anyway, so up to just got a long block. Activate long. Add it on shield as an example of having multiple supported actions in a part. I could probably just have a parameterized animation in practice. Different animations. Let's just illustrate. I can probably come up with a part that has two very different actions that would be better. Like, you know, some kind of punchy fist that can also shoot the fist off and then it's lost. Yes, it was having some weirdness with the duration. Maybe an issue with the is doing action property of shield. Yeah, that'll do. I'm going to go get some rest, do some healing, get my brain to work properly. So then when I come back to this, I'll get that working nicely. And I do look forward to moving and getting this nice and wrapped up so that I can start adding sensors. And then this routine will start to become... Oh, get out of the way, OneNote. Just minimize you. Yeah, this routine will start to become a lot better than just a linear line of parts. They'll start to be able to detect each other and or obstacles and behave appropriately or inappropriately if that's how they're programmed. Okay, well, I've been David from Fertile Pixel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.